All right, welcome to your Wiley Manager Crash Course, where in this week's full-length podcast, Bob, we talked about conducting interviews.
We did.
How are we going to wrap this one up in 3 minutes for folks in the crash course?
We're really not. I will remind them that last week we talked about how to prepare if you're going to be doing interviews, how to, as a manager or HR person, you should prepare for those things. This week, we're talking about what actually happens once you get in the room. So we talk about the difference between a great interview, which again would be a mutually respectful conversation, versus a bad interview, which is more like an inquisition, right? So we also talk about an interview format that we would perhaps suggest as you go through the whole thing. We talk about how you assess the candidate, both formally and informally, during the interview and after the interview. The preparation, again, really helps you do that well. We talk about the use of killer questions, which we talked about before. We have our interview scoring sheet back at the Wiley Manager website for people to pick off as well. And then we spend some time, Jed, we talk about good and bad interview questions, right? So again, good questions that are actually based on something that's close to the job, and behavioral questions. For example, things like, tell me about a specific time when X happened, and as well as situational questions. Okay, what would you do if this happened, right? Or in this scenario, how do you think you would react, right? And why these questions are valuable things to use in interviews, and some suggestions as to what people might be able to do with them. Finally, we talk about how you bring this thing to a close and the sort of wrap up you have to do towards the end of an interview, and how to follow up with people after the interview.
All right, cool. So if you're looking for more tools, more advice on how to conduct interviews well, you can get that back at our website, wileymanager.com, where you can pull off the full-length version of this particular podcast, as well as have access to some of those tools that Bob was talking about. We have cheat sheets and good interview questions, bad interview questions, scoring assessment sheets for both resumes and interviews themselves. So lots of good stuff back at the Wiley Manager Ranch.
You betcha.
All right, thanks for your time, Bob.
See you then.